Everybody's trying to duck, man. Everybody's trying to survive because the bullets were going everywhere.
Well, the rain didn't prevent this from being another day of violence on the streets of Chicago. Reverend Jesse Jackson, he blames the governor as the reason 300 Chicago State University employees are losing their jobs. And it turns out this roaring inferno in the suburbs has been pinned on a disgruntled forklift operator. That's right, it was deliberately set. It is 7 o'clock, just past 7. CLTV News, I'm Bill Mahler, your anchor for the next half hour. Well, Saturday was sure a washout. Will Sunday be any better? Let's find out from meteorologist Jim Ramsey. What's the word, Jim?
Well, I think tomorrow we will see some passing showers in the area. Most of the main range and partly cloudy skies. Bill?
All right, Jim, thanks. Violence in the streets of Chicago. It's become a staple of weekend news, and so we begin with this breaking news. In the span of a handful of hours on this rainy day, 5 people in Chicago were shot in 2 different shootings, and one of them, a 36-year-old man, was killed. Let's go to WGN's Eric Rung at the police station at 51st and Wentworth. Eric?
Hi, Bill. The shootings happened just a few miles apart from each other. Both involved multiple victims, and both were very scary for those who witnessed the shootings. So far, police have made no arrests in either of the shootings. However, detectives are interviewing the 17-year-old to see if any charges should be filed in that case. We're at 51st and Wentworth. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News.
And on it goes. All right, Eric, thank you. And new at 7 tonight, a man was killed today on the Tri-State Tollway after he got out of his car following a multi-vehicle crash. It was just past 10 this morning in the southbound lanes of I-294 in Des Plaines. Police say that Jeffrey Komata hit a minivan that was stalled in the middle lane. He then was rear-ended by another vehicle. What he did was get out of his car to check on everybody. Actually, he pulled a woman and a child out of the car behind him and got them to safety, but then he was hit by an oncoming semi.
He did get them in his vehicle, and while he was attempting to get back into his vehicle, he was struck by the semi and her vehicle that was struck.
No citations have been issued because of this accident. The Will County Sheriff's Office is investigating a murder-suicide that involved a husband and wife in Homer Township. Both were 54 years old. Happened about 10 o'clock this morning while the couple's adult children were home. They told investigators they heard their parents arguing, and then they heard the gunshots. The identities of the 2 who were killed are being withheld until other family members are notified. Authorities hope that you can help identify the suspects in an attempted robbery. It happened on the CTA Blue Line. Police say the 2 walked up to a DePaul student while she was sitting on the CTA train. They tried to take her cell phone by punching her. One even bit her. The attack happened just before 11 o'clock Thursday morning near Western. The victim was upset that nobody on the train tried to help her. Anybody with any information should call the police department. This huge and destructive fire was deliberately set. It broke out last Thursday, and the entire warehouse of the Room Place went up in flames. By the next morning, there wasn't much left of the Woodridge facility. Federal investigators started digging around, and they say that an employee angry with management for docking some vacation days had set the fire. 20-year-old Ruben Antonio Ochoa Cruz was a forklift driver, and he admitted that he started the fire with a lighter after he had a meeting with bosses who told him that they were going to take some of his vacation time for work that he had missed. The fire caused about $70 million in damage. The pink slips are heading out. More than 300 employees at Chicago State University are being laid off. That's about a third of the staff. And it's because of the inability of the governor and the legislature to come to terms on a budget, which is now about 10 months overdue. Who's most to blame? Well, the Reverend Jesse Jackson says it's the governor. WGN's Randy Bellosomo has been looking into this and joins us now with a story. Randy?
Hi, Bill. Reverend Jesse Jackson said today that Chicago State students and faculty have been deceived and betrayed by Governor Rauner, the man he's blaming for the layoffs and the racial insensitivity, Jackson says, that they show. It's the African-American population that suffers the most from the budget crisis, he said, and black students trying to pursue an education should be afforded the opportunity. Governor Rauner said this week that the emergency funding was the result of a bipartisan short-term solution to save Chicago State from closing. The state, he says, is in need of a long-term solution with a balanced budget, new revenue, and very critical reforms. In the newsroom, Randy Bellasomo, WGN News. Bill, back to you.
All right, Randy, thanks. About 5,000 people ran and walked in the 12th annual Run and Walk to Remember. It was along the lakefront on Saturday. It was cold, it was drizzly, but they came to raise money. Each step raised more for families of Chicago police officers who were killed or disabled in the line of duty. The money is also used to help about 36 students with their school supplies and tuition. They're students who lost a parent in the line of duty on the police force. Mayor Emanuel took part, huffing and puffing a bit after he finished, and he talked with reporters.
This is a way to remember all the officers who put duty over their danger and their personal danger. It's to always remind us of the sacrifice and the selflessness we ask of others on behalf of our own safety and security.
In all, 574 Chicago police officers have made the ultimate sacrifice, giving their lives in the line and performance of their duty. A lot of protests at a Trump rally last week. You remember that? And Republican presidential candidates not named Trump are sharpening their criticism of the frontrunner. Severe storms destroying homes in Oklahoma. And how did that mattress end up on a power line? And when will the rain go away? Jim Ramsey, he will say, coming up.